All right, so I was up late watching YouTube and just going through videos while I was doing some work in the background. And all of a sudden, I ran into a live streaming channel, and lo and behold, guess what it was? It was a church, and they were doing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week worship and prayer. And so I'm just watching this audience and this church praying and worshiping while I'm doing my work. And then all of a sudden, I took a glance at the stage and I just made a connection. I realized that this church was started by a ministry of a pastor who had a vision. And his vision was to start 24 hours a day, 7 days a week prayer way back in the 90s. Could you believe that? And so while I was watching it, I realized instantly that what I'm seeing is faith in action. I realized that this guy had a vision. This guy had something, substance in his heart. As a matter of fact, someone actually came to him and gave him this like crazy message and said, God told me to tell you that you're gonna start 24 hours a day, 7 days a week prayer. And with that message, he was like, of course, thanks. That's really hard to do. How am I gonna set up worship? Where am I even gonna do that? And so this pastor on the plane, he heard an audible voice that said, I've called many people to do this, but none of them have obeyed me. Will you? And with that, this guy gave up everything he had, moved to Kansas City and started this prayer deal. And now in 2019, I'm sitting there watching physical evidence of faith in action. And it completely rocked my world because you see, I thought faith was some mystical thing that had no substance. It had no evidence. But what I was seeing literally was evidence of somebody's faith. And my question this moment right now is that what's the substance that it's in you, right? What's that thing that's been stirring up in you? What's that thing that perhaps a friend spoke to you, or perhaps the Holy Spirit or God himself spoke to you and said, I want you to do this. You see, the Bible calls that the substance of things, right? And through that substance, when we take a step of action, that action that we take, that's the evidence of something that could not seen. You know, I like to think of it like a house, right? So when you look at a house, oftentimes you can't see the foundation of the house, but the house standing there is evidence that there is a foundation. And you see, faith is that same thing. Whenever you take a step towards what God has called you to do, whatever he's graced you with, whatever that thing that every time you think about it, every time you imagine yourself doing it, you're like, yes, I could do that. When you take a step towards that grace, others will see it as evidence. And that's what faith is. Faith is not some nebulous, blind thing that you can't see. Faith is concrete. It's a sure foundation. And so as you step into this week, I want to encourage you, step into faith. Take a next step towards whatever it is that God has been speaking to you.